Hi there everybody, it's Lael with Lael by Mail. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to put together the base of a file folder album. So this is a project or a kit that I had available on my website at laelbymail.com. And I will be showing you how to make the base of the album. So with none of the product in it, basically this is what we will be walking through how to make the base of the album. So then you can create or customize an album like that for yourself. Actually, it's not really an album. I guess it's a mini book, right? A mini book. All right, so let's get started. What you need for this, you need 4 file folders. They're just the regular manila file folders. I have bought mine from Amazon, and I will include a link to the specific ones that I purchased in the description for the video. So it kind of matters which ones you use, but kind of not. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to starting to measure and cut. So you need 4 different file folders. You need one that has the tab on the bottom, one that has the tab in the middle, one that has the tab on the top. Then we need one more, and that last one could be either one that has the tab on the top or one that has the tab on the bottom. It does not matter which one that 4th one is, so you'll end up with 4 total. Let's just say you're going to have 2 top ones, a middle one, and a bottom one, or 2 bottom ones, a middle one, and a top one. Okay, so basically the dimensions of the album, everything that we are working with is 6 inches tall. So you can kind of see that album right there. I keep calling it an album, mini book, is 6 inches tall. That is our height. So we will want to take our file folders and we will be cutting them. So we are cutting them 6 inches from the edge of the bottom one. So you can see there, I have roughly 6 inches from this side over here. So I want to measure from the right over at 6 inches, and that's on the bottom one. I want to do the same thing on the top one, but on the top one, I am cutting from 6 inches from the left. And I'm doing that because I want to preserve that, that little tab right there. So 6 inches from the left on the one that has the tab on the top, 6 inches from the right on the one that has the tab on the bottom. And we've just lost my little, well, not lost it, but my little microphone there. So hang tight. I'm going to try to tape that back on. So, oh, darn it. Well, let me see if I can't get rid of that for a sec. So it's not in our way. All right, let's see if that's any better. Yep, okay, good. So as I was saying, 6 inches from the right, the bottom tab, 6 inches from the left on the top tab. Then we get to the middle. So the middle, we need to also be 6 inches, but we want that middle tab centered. So I'm going to trim about almost 2 3/4 from each of those sides. And it is, I think, roughly 2 3/4. But this is where, if you are using a different file folder, this is where the measurements, especially when it comes to here, the 2 3/4. If you're not using the same file folder, you want to make sure that however you're cutting, whether it's 2 3/4 less or more, you always want to make sure you have that 6 inches left over in that middle section. All right. The last one that we need, this was our extra, whether we were doing an extra top one or an extra bottom one. I just need to also cut that at 6 inches. So in this case, my tab was on the top, so I'm cutting 6 inches from the left. All right, so that then gives me pieces that are going to look like this. So this was my piece that had the measured 6 inches from the right. This is my centerpiece where I had 6 inches from the center. And then this is my bottom piece where I had 6 inches from the left. All right, so now we're going to take those 3 pieces and we are going to score them. So I'm going to grab my little scoreboard here and we're scoring them. I had to get some things out of the way. We are scoring them at 4.5 inches. So basically, I'm going to put each of the file folders into my score pal at the same way, where the opening is against the left edge. And I am just scoring right here at 4.5 inches. So I'm scoring at 4.5 inches, and I want to score there pretty tight. I don't want to cut it, obviously, but I want to make sure that I get a nice, good score there. So I'm doing that with the bottom tab. The same thing from the middle tab, scoring at 4.5 inches. And then the same thing on the top tab, scoring at 4.5 inches. And then we'll come back with our little scoreboard again in a second. Actually, we'll go ahead and do that right now. We are going to, so let me start from the bottom. This is my first piece. This is the bottom piece. So I want to fold this way. Actually, bear with me a sec, because we're actually going to label them first. If we label them first, it'll be a lot easier to do that. So starting with the first piece, this is where my tab is at the bottom. I want to label the pieces. So let me grab my little, one of my little examples here. All right, so this is our first piece. And this is my labeled and scored first piece. So basically what I've done here is I am starting with the front right there. My tab is still right there. And I am labeling that A. And then I'm going to open up and continue B, C, D, E. And then closing it, that is F and G. All right. So there's my first one. My second one is the middle one. So starting with, here's my close version, starting with I. I'm going to do I and then open up J, K, L, M, and then closing it, N and O. And it's important that you label these as I've labeled them, because at the end, I'll give you the instructions on how we're going to adhere on the three pieces together, and we will be talking about adhering I to P or something like that. All right, so there are the first two. Then we get to the top one. And this one we're starting with the letter Q. So there's my Q. Opening up R, S, T, U. And then coming back to this side, V and W. All right, now keep in mind, you can rewind the video, pause the video at any time that you need, if you need to repeat that. All right, so there are my three pieces. Now, what we want to do is we are going to fold A backwards. So A is now coming in this way. And then I want to, let's see, let me get my handy little thing, my handy little cheat sheet out here. Do that. And then E is coming in to D. So I'll show you what this looks like when we're done. Basically, I've made a nice little W, right? Where we have B, C, D, and E, and then A is on top and F is on the back. Now, I'm going to bring back in my score board, because I want to, just using that as a flat surface, but I want to then take my bone folder and really press along that scored edge, because if I can press along those scored edges, it's going to make it a lot easier. See, now it's flat. Before it kind of had a little bit of lift in it. It's going to make it a lot easier for me to assemble when I have done that. So there's my first piece. That is A. Let's now go to my middle piece that starts with I. So I'm going to grab I. I'm doing the same thing. So I is going to come into the center, and then M is going to also come into the center. So when I open it up, I have J, K, L, M, and I'm going to come back to my flat surface and my bone folder, and score and score. All right, so there we go, J, K, L, M in the center, and that is my second piece. All righty. So now let's go to the one that starts with Q. Exact same thing. I'm going to fold. Oops, I didn't label X. Hang on. Let me get back there and label X. All right. So I'm going to fold Q into the center, towards the center, and then U also gets folded in towards this. In towards the center. And sometimes that happens, so I didn't quite get a good score on that. So I'm just going to grab my bone folder and fix that. So both of those pieces now are folded in towards the center. And again, I'm going to come back here and I am going to use my bone folder just to really flatten out both of those scored edges. All right, now one thing I want to mention, when I am decorating the file folder mini book once it's done, I wouldn't be too concerned about those edges not quite lining up, especially as we start adhering things, because my way to kind of fix that is to, let me pull back that project again really quick. Once I get it all decorated, see what I've done here? I have wrapped that spine. So the spine gets wrapped. So anywhere in that center where if things didn't quite meet up, then I'm okay, because that wrapping is going to help cover up any uneven edges. All right, so now we have our pieces. The one starting with A, the one starting with the I, and the one starting with Q. We also have the cover. So the cover is what I had cut right here. So I cut it at 6 inches. And then everything from the top of the tab to the bottom, or I should say the right to the left, is 5 inches. So I have all of my pieces there. This is my cover, and I'm going to go ahead and label that as cover, just so we know what I'm working with. Okay, get that back out of the way. Now, the steps for adhering the pieces together. I will put these in the description for the video, so you have that. One of the products I recommend as you are putting a book like this together is some score tape. This is double-sided adhesive. It's 1/4 inch wide, and I will also link this in the description. But this one is really important because you want to make sure as you're adhering things that things stick really, really well. And you don't want to use a glue stick or a tape runner or something. You want to use double-sided, really heavy-duty adhesive like that. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to adhere the cover to A. So what we want to do is we're going to apply our adhesive to the top, the bottom, and the left side of A. So I'm just going to take my little score tape here, and I don't even need scissors. I can just tear it. So we're going to do that. So we just did the top. That is the left side. And now we're doing the bottom. And you'll notice on the bottom, I only am doing to right there. The reason we're not doing right here is once we adhere that cover, we're going to end up with a pocket. And that's what's really fun about these file folder albums or books, is that you have little pockets then. As you are adhering things together, you have the little pockets that you can then tuck different things into. So I've removed the adhesive on the top, bottom, and left side, and I am adhering the cover like so. Now that I've done that, you can see that I have a little side pocket right there. All right, so there is my first step. My second step, I want to apply adhesive to I have H right here. Oops, for some reason I keep forgetting to label that last piece. I probably did that in the last one too. All right, on H, I'm applying adhesive to the bottom and the right edge of H. So along the bottom and along the right edge. We'll go ahead and remove that. Remember, for the file folders that I've used, for the 1/4 inch adhesive tape, I am including links to those in the description of the video. All right, and then I'm just pushing G right on top of that. Okay, So now what I've done is I've made a top pocket. I've made my top pocket. All right, so now we're going to F. I'm applying adhesive to the top, right-hand side, and bottom of F. And remember, these little things I will have step by step. 1 through 6. We'll be doing 6 different adhesive things here, and those are in the description of the video. So we did the top and the bottom and the right-hand side of F. F as in Frank. And we'll remove that. Oopsie. Sometimes easier said than done, right? Okay, that. And then that. So we are adhering that to the piece labeled I. So that's now our second piece. That was the middle piece. So we're going to do this and just basically close that right in on itself. So now I have a pocket that I've also now joined my first piece to my second piece. All right, next one. We're applying adhesive to the bottom and right edge of P. So let's go ahead and, yep, I knew it. For some reason, I forgot to label the backs of all of those, just the 3 pieces. So we're applying adhesive to the bottom and the right edge of P. We'll go ahead and remove those pieces, like so, and like so. And we are adhering that to O, so it's just closing right there in on itself. Look at, we're starting to come up with something that's resembling a little bit more than just file folders, right? Okay, next thing, we need to apply adhesive to the top, bottom, and left edge of Q. So there's the top, there's the left edge, and here's the bottom of Q. And I'll remove those little guys. And we're going to adhere this. Oopsie. Ooh, I didn't do so well on that one. That's a little bit crooked. I am going to adhere that to the piece labeled N. So now I'm joining our third file folder to the other 2. So we'll just do that, and it's going to stick itself right down. And I have now made another side pocket. All right, so there we are. Now we just have this one extra little piece that we need to adhere. So we are going to come to X and apply our adhesive to the bottom and right edge of X. All right, bottom and right edge. And we are now going to remove the adhesive from both of those pieces. Okay, and then it is getting adhered to W. All righty, friends. Oh no, we're good. All right, so here we go. Now we have our little book. So we have the cover, we have a left pocket, we have a top pocket, we keep going, we have another pocket, we have another top pocket, we keep going, we have another pocket, we have another top pocket, and then we have our last couple of pages. So there you have it. That is our file folder album. And just to give you a quick look again, now that you have, now you understand how to put that little guy together, look how fun this becomes. So that is now, I had taken that base album and then decorated it. So I added tags to the top, I added some different flip outs, I added tags to the inside, but it really gives you a really fun base to create a little mini book or a little album. And look how different. I mean, look at this. This thing gets so chock full. You've got so much room to add things to. I will leave a link to my website in the description. And from there, if you have any questions about how I put this little base together, please feel free to go to my website. There is a contact us page on the website at laelbymail.com, and you can contact me through there if you have any questions or comments. All right, friends, I hope you have fun making an album like that or a mini book like that. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.